Welcome to our YouTube channel, where wisdom meets inspiration. In this channel, we share valuable insights to help you become the best version of yourself. Our content is designed to uplift your spirit and enrich your life. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to stay connected with this incredible journey. Click the subscribe button below.
Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. I am really very happy to be in your midst in this institution and very happy to see your enthusiasm. I can see the hall is almost full. So this is an interesting topic to all of you, naturally, art and science of attention, because we all know our success depends on the attention we put into things. You see, I get down to business immediately. I'm not going to tell you the importance of attention. You know it very well. Being students of a medical college, engineering colleges, you know it, that your success entirely depends on that. So we are going to go into the heart of attention. What is it? How to manufacture it? And what are the factors required to bring your attention into full bloom? What are the obstacles to it? And all of this knowledge, which will help you master any situation, reach success in whatever you are doing, it comes, from your own psychology, the yoga psychology. Aapne suna hoga, the yogic sciences, it's a whole science in itself, which teaches you how to handle this equipment. Not merely the objective world. Please see this. The objective world, the objective sciences, we have developed enormously. What we have not paid too much attention to is this particular instrument. How it works, how it functions, what are its depths. How do we muster this level of attention, which is our own property, to achieve success in the outer world? So if this we get a hold over, your success is ensured. That is the importance of this science. And that is why we will be studying yoga psychology. We will be studying something from the Vedanta. We will be studying something from Vivekananda's works on this topic. You might have heard of the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. Yes? Is the most comprehensive information on attention and concentration. So we will be studying from that, and we will put everything together to get a real summary of how to build up our attention spans and what is it that is holding us back. Now, in yoga psychology, it is very clearly put that you are capable of 5 natural states of mind. You might have heard something of this, but let me put it here very briefly. The 5 states of mind that they speak of is the mudha state, the kshipta state, vikshipta, ekagra, and niruddha. These are the 5 states that yoga psychology talks about. And a lot of commentary you will find on this by Vyas and others. What are they trying to say? You see, the mudha state and the kshipta state, maybe you're quite familiar with, because the mudha state is the dull tamasic state when the mind does not want to move, does not want to think too much. And maybe the state you feel on Sundays, where it's lazy, unmoving. That state of mind will not get you anywhere. That state of mind is okay, maybe occasionally it happens, but it's something to be got rid of. That is not a solution to anything in life. The next is the kshipta state, where the mind is extremely restless and distracted. So this state also we know what it is like. When the mind is simply out of control, thoughts are just happening. We are not thinking. They are just going on. And occasionally you just become aware of what is going on in your mind. It produces immense restlessness within. And you really feel, where am I going with this kind of a mind? So many of us are occasionally in kshipta states. Then we have the vikshipta state, which is the state of being preoccupied with something. This is a state also which you have experienced. All philosophers, scientists, usually they remain in this state, where you are preoccupied with some particular subject, with some definite, specific ideas, and your mind revolves only around that. So this is an important state to achieve and maintain and sustain in order to achieve success in life. The fourth is the ekagra state, where your mind doesn't budge from your subject. It is the state of what is called flow in today's modern psychology. You might have heard the name of Csikszentmihalyi. He worked on this. And he has commented on the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. What a treasury of information they are giving us about concentration and attention. So this ekagra state is what we will be studying in a very deep way, how to generate it. And this is the actual prescription, the cause for your success anywhere. Ability to keep the mind absolutely still at one point and move it only when your will wishes it, not move it due to any external cause. This is a possibility with the human mind, and you are capable of this. And the final state is what is called the niruddha state, where the mind is completely mastered and restrained. So this is a state achieved through the practice of yoga, where no external agent is required for you to reach the highest state of awareness and concentration. You are doing it by default, by yourself. So now for our purposes as students, in order to achieve success in whatever we are doing, it is important for us to make the vikshipta and the ekagra states our default states, our natural states of mind, which means naturally you are preoccupied with something of importance to you at a higher level. Yes, not very distracted, not very restless, and the ekagra state where you are riveted to your subject. These two states should become our default states if we want to achieve success in whatever we are doing. Now, in order to do this, before we jump into the heart of attention spans, we must understand there is a base, a kind of substratum to what you are calling attention, and that is the human mind. Because attention is a property of your mind. If this base is not worked upon, if it is not cultivated a bit, you will not be able to maintain long attention spans. I can illustrate this to you, what this base means, through a story, which is very interesting. You see, Zen masters used to have a number of students. This is a story which actually took place. So one of these students, which a Zen master had, many times they would teach them concentration through martial arts. Because in martial arts also, you need a certain amount of concentration. So he would teach his students archery just to train them in concentration. One of his students, who was a young monk, he was very proud of his archery skills. He could shoot straight at a tree, and when the arrow would get fixed to the tree, he could use another arrow to split that arrow. So he had gained mastery over this. And so he was very proud of it, and he would go about telling the other students that I'm able to do this so quickly, just like my master, just like the Zen master. So when the teachers heard this and saw this, he thought, well, this fellow should be taught a lesson. This is a very small skill. With practice, you can do this. But there's so much more to be acquired. So let me just show him what the worth of this skill is. So one day he took all the students to a particular mountainous region where they came across a ravine. And in that ravine, it was a small ravine, but a tree had fallen in such a way so as to bridge the gap in the ravine, and the trunk of the tree was across like this. Now, this was a very dangerous, a precarious situation actually, as you can see, because if one wanted to go on the other side, one had to go over the tree. And the teacher, the Zen master, he quickly climbed that trunk of tree, went to the center of that ravine. There was a huge canyon there. So if he fell, he would go right rock bottom and, well, he would be killed. So all the students were just looking like this, and he went there, stood firmly in the middle of that tree trunk, and shot an arrow at a tree, and shot another arrow which split that arrow. Then he quietly moved across and went to the other side. Now his students were watching this. Even this student, who was very proud of his skills, he was also watching it. And then the teacher said, okay, come on, now you do it. And now this fellow was stricken with fear. What if I fall? What if I lose my balance? And it is such a dangerous situation. I can't do it. But then how can he make a fool of himself in front of the other students? He's so proud of his skill. So somehow he went there. And he managed to stand up. in the middle of that ravine, in the middle of that tree which was fallen like that. And then he was so fearful within, so panic-stricken, that he actually could not shoot his arrow at all. He tried to do it and it went somewhere. And then he just sat down there and started crying and weeping and said, "Please save me. I am too full of fear to actually do what you are asking me to do. Please save me in this situation." And then the teacher came and held his hand and led him out of that situation. Then he told him, "Look, my son, skill alone is not enough. The mind must be calm. The mind must be without negativity. If your mind is in a very balanced state, you can muster the attention to do anything. If the mind, the platform for your attention, is absolutely restless and shaky, you see, you cannot do anything. And life situations are such. Many times you will have to balance on beams. Many times you will have to face situations where your reaction can be very immediate. Your reaction can be very negative. In those situations, to maintain a balanced state of mind so that you can keep your attention on what you want to achieve is very important. So more important than skills you can develop with practice, is the platform you provide for those skills, your mind. And that is why work on your mind. Then stabilize your hand, develop the skill, and you will achieve success anywhere. So we will first be studying this mind management, how to handle our mind, our thoughts, the thought processes continuously occurring in our mind, how to handle our emotions, and then how to handle our attention. Because it's all connected, they are not different things. You will find this mastery over attention in many lives. In fact, the difference between success and failure is due to this. You know, Vivekananda's life, you find incidents where he had achieved this complete mastery over mind and attention. I can give you one simple incident before I start with the actual mechanics of mind management. Once Vivekananda was in Meerut, and he had been visiting a library. He was a voracious reader, you see, and he would ask books from that library to be brought to him through his brother disciple Swami Akhandanandji. And the librarian, every day Swamiji would ask for a new book. He would return the book which he borrowed yesterday and ask for a new book. He was actually studying Sir John Lubbock's works. And every day a new book. So one day the librarian commented that how can this man be reading one huge volume every day? I don't think he's reading it. And when Vivekananda heard of this, one day strolling that way, he went to meet the librarian and he said, "I do indeed read the books. So you can send me the books I ask for. Every day I read one book." And the man said, "How is this possible, Swamiji?" Then Swamiji said, "Okay, all the volumes that I have read, ask me anything from that." And you know, the trial took place right there. He asked him just from any of the volumes, some 8 volumes, anything he's just picking out and asking, and Swamiji is giving the exact answer and even verbatim quoting what is in the book sometimes. Every day, one huge volume. How is this possible? Then he asked him, "This is superhuman. How are you doing it? Please tell me." And Vivekananda said, "You see, just observe how a child starts learning. Initially, when you say A for apple, you introduce the child to the word apple. What does it do? It just focuses on the first letter, A. It will repeat it loudly, maybe A, then P, again P, L, E. It is focusing letter by letter. Gradually, as it grows up, it is able to focus on the word apple without going letter by letter. So also as your mental faculties increase, as your powers of concentration increase, you will focus on the whole sentence. Not just looking at the sentence, you know what its meaning is. And then you will focus on the paragraph gradually. Just you glance to the paragraph and you know what the author is trying to say. Finally, it's the page. You know, very sensitive, concentrated mind, just it will go through the page like that and it soaks in the information. I am doing that with books, Vivekananda said. I just glance through the book and I know what the author wants to say. I can soak in the entire information. It is just the power of concentration and unflickering attention. Of course, Swamiji also said, Purity of mind is required for this. If all these things are put together, your attention will remain riveted. It will move only when you want it to move. It will function as you want it to function. So this is a possibility. You can soak in the entire information. You see, like this video camera, it is soaking in the entire data from here. Taking in the entire information. So also you can soak in the entire information in your books, from your laptop, anything, if your mind develops that ability. If your concentration, your attention does not flit from object to object. So this is a perfect capacity of the human mind which can be developed. Another thing which you should understand here is, just like how Swamiji was able to absorb from that book entirely, and this demonstration Vivekananda has given in various places with Paul Deussen. He has also done it in Belur Math once with Encyclopedia Britannica. So it shows that a yogi's mind, how it functions. You see, even an ordinary artist or a sculptor, for that matter, you know how a sculptor sculpts an image? Please understand this point. He already has created the image in his mind perfectly, as he wants it to be, in all detail. When he looks at the stone in front of him, the marble in front of him, he will only chip off what is not in his mind. He will look at the image in the stone, chip off that portion which is not the image, and the image is created. Where did it first get created? In his mind. Mind is the starting point of everything. If you want to change the world, it must first begin as an idea in your mind. Every object of the world was an idea in somebody's mind. Every creative person knows this. What is in my mind is going to come out in the image, in the sculpture, in the painting. Even a painter does this, you know. First he conceives of the perfect painting in his mind. Then, as it were, he downloads that on the canvas. So if the mind has clarity, if the mind has concentration and attention, success is only a matter of time. Everything has to do with mind management. You have the wonderful science of yoga and Vedanta born of this culture. All the information and knowledge, we have it right here. If you are not able to draw from this, tell me whose mistake is it? When our young people in our schools and colleges suffer from depression and negativities, I really feel, what is this? A culture which gave rise to such tremendous understanding, such great philosophies, such great wealth of knowledge. How can you lose upon this? So this must become part and parcel of your educational system, of our educational apparatus. It is happening in a big way. Because you understand the importance of mind management, isn't it? And you can do this in your life. Just by training a little bit of this background knowledge, which I will be giving you just now, and a training along these lines, and you will be able to achieve everything that you want to achieve. So now let's go directly into the heart. One minute. The heart of attention and mind management. We will go directly into this. Before I start, let me just give you a verse from Mundaka Upanishad. Have you heard of our Upanishads? That is the very essence of our Vedic thought. It's not merely a philosophy, it's an existential inquiry into the nature of existence. There you'll find wonderful ideas about your own real nature, about the nature of your mind, about attention, concentration. Everything is there. We have to draw it out now for our purposes. That is the thing. There in the Mundaka Upanishad, you find this very beautiful mantra. Pranavo dhanu, sharo hyatma, brahma tallakshamuchyate, apramattena vedhavyam, sharavat tanmayo bhavet. They are giving us a very vital idea, very important idea. What are they telling us? You see, pranavo dhanu means the pranav, omkar, is the bow. Sharo hyatma. Your Atma is, as it were, the arrow. Brahma tallakshamuchyate. Brahman, the supreme reality of Brahman, is the goal. And sharavat tanmayo bhavet. If you are able to join the arrow to the goal, you will be able to achieve the knowledge of Brahman. Essentially, what they are trying to tell us is, if you are able to fix your attention on your goal by the stability of your mind, you will attain that goal. The arrow actually pierces the target, isn't it? So also your attention must pierce what you want to attain, not remain on this side, not remain on the subjective side, not get scattered there. One pointedly pierce the target and you will attain the goal, he says. So how do we do this? This is what we are going to study now with the help of slides. First thing is how to stabilize the mind so as to build up the power of attention. Secondly, we will study attention in detail, what it involves. Let's go into the PPT. The basic thing about mind management is you must learn to bring the entire body-mind complex into a state in which you can handle it. That's why we use the word control. Control is central to development. What does it do? It takes your energies to the next higher level. You see, that's a picture of police dogs in training. This is one of the experiments, one of the tests given to them. If they pounce upon that kitten, they are disqualified. So, जब जानवरों को भी ये training दे जा रही है, what to speak of the human being? If your attention is so easily scattered, so easily removed from your purposes, you will get disqualified from life. So, in our case, let us understand this basic law. Instinct control becomes reason, isn't it? Reason controlled becomes inspiration, and inspiration under control becomes realization. Vivekananda bhi ye bolte hain. Somehow bringing our flitting powers of concentration, attention into our hands by controlling our instincts, by controlling our ability to reason also, bringing it, aligning it to our goals. That is the basic thing. That is how we develop the mind and our attention. Now you see, what are the basic inlets to your mind? I told you have to first understand the background material of mind to go into attention. You see, what decides your thoughts is these three things. First is your five senses. Yes, what you take in through the eyes, what you take in through the ears, through all the senses is deciding the content of your mind. Because suppose, let me give an example. You saw a movie today. Maybe it was a horror movie. Over the next whole week, you were brooding about the horror movie, what you saw. Doesn't this happen? Why? You have taken in through your senses, what you have taken in through the eyes has become your thought world. The inlet to the mind starts with the senses. And then your activities, whatever you do throughout the day, there is a mental impression, corresponding mental impression left in your mind. Easily, these are all the starting points for mind activity. To change behavior, you must take into consideration all of this. And then, of course, even if your eyes and your ears are all closed, still your memories will generate a whole movie for you, a number of movies, because it's constantly spinning your thoughts. So these are the three factors which are responsible for your entire mind activity. Please see this, the five senses, your activities and your memories. So to a certain extent, if these are handled with care, your mind will remain stable. You can handle your mind perfectly. Your thoughts, your emotions, everything will be in your hands if we can stabilize these. Look at this slide. The contents of your mind depend upon your thoughts, your emotions, drives, attitudes, impulses, and they in turn depend upon your intake through the senses. Sense exposure creates the content of your thoughts. So conscious control of senses becomes the first step. And then your activity creates impressions which may bypass your conscious mind. Right? Many times. So your activity also to a certain extent must be guided, must be goal-oriented. And then what you think also depends on your previous experiences stored as impressions or sanskars in the subconscious, which sprout on the conscious plane as memories. This is something for you to understand. See, what I mean by that third point is whatever you take in through the senses has become your thoughts, becomes the content of your mind. When you repeat it, it goes into your subconscious and becomes your memory. So you are in charge of your memories. isn't it? After some time, it will again sprout into thoughts. And then you feel, from where did this thought come? You put it in at some point of time. So your conscious control of your intake will generate very good memories for you. This is the point. You should know, at least let this knowledge be there, that I know how my inner world, my mind is functioning. Now, let us take a closer look. Once you understand this is the background of the mind which I am giving you, how you are taking in sense impressions, how your mind is working, how your memories are generated, and what are the factors responsible for your mind activity. This is what we saw just now. Now, I will introduce two technical terms here from Yoga Sutras, which are vritti and pratyay. Vritti means the fluctuation of thought in your mind. What exactly happens when you think? Your mind undergoes a modification. This is an important point to note. You see, anything coming into your mind, don't think, well, you are completely detached from it. It actually creates a vritti, a modification in your mind, a kind of a fluctuation. If you throw a ball at a rubber sheet, what will happen? The sheet, as it were, warps around the ball, isn't it? So also your mind warps around your thoughts. It is modified by your thought content. The thought is what we call pratyay. The warping of your mind is what we call vritti. So get these concepts clear, because a lot of what is happening in attention depends on these concepts. I'm giving you the very in-depth yoga psychology. Vrittis and pratyays are generating your mental world. If your vrittis and pratyays are conscious, deliberate, goal-oriented, you will have a wonderful mental world. You will go where you want to go. You will have beautiful thoughts and wonderful emotions. You will enrich your life. And if these vrittis and pratyays are totally out of control, then, well, you are at the mercy of what is called compulsive thinking. The outer object is deciding what you think, what you feel, which way you will go. Your mind is not in your hands. So this basic psychology you should know. What is a vritti? It is a modification of mind by the impulse that is coming in, the thought which I am generating through my sense intake. So these two are the factors responsible for your entire mind activity. Now, look at this picture. It has a lot of ideas put together. Look at the topmost image there. You see how the vrittis are fluctuating in your mind. Every vritti there has a different pratyay, isn't it? There's a different image within every vritti there. Now, the first image is that of your home. Maybe when you were concentrating on your studies, you suddenly thought of something at home. So I have put the pratyay there, a house. Then you thought of what you had for breakfast. So that is the next pratyay. You see, the vritti is going on, the modification of the mind is going on constantly, and the pratyay is every time different. Then you thought of what you will play in the evening. So different pratyays and similar kind of vrittis are there. Right? You understood the two concepts? The modification of your mind is continuously going on. That's why you feel this sense of restlessness all the time, because your mind is getting modified with every thought. And the thoughts are continuously different. So this is the normal state of mind in an ordinary human being. As you practice concentration, what will happen is, you see, unstable vrittis and dissimilar pratyays is the ordinary state of mind, obviously. But if you stabilize your vrittis, although you may have a few dissimilar pratyays, you come to a focused state of mind, which means no matter what intake you take and what thought is created in your mind is so stable by itself. It does not readily modify according to the pratyay. It is very stable. So this is your learning to focus. If you are able to manufacture very stable vrittis and similar pratyays, the same thought form, and a very stable state of mind, then you generate the concentrated mind. Look, that's the third point. This is how you start manufacturing the highest level of attention. You have stabilized mind itself and you have stabilized your thought forms. Absolutely. So very stable states of mind, very similar thoughts, and a concentrated mind is generated. Now, non-fluctuating vrittis rising and falling at the same point And the same pratyay is the meditative mind. Please see that. Meditation में हम क्या बोलते हैं? You concentrate on one object for a sustained period of time, for a long period of time. Why do we ask you to practice this? So that you generate this state where the mind is minimally fluctuating and the pratyay is the same always. If you are able to generate this state, you have gone into the state of meditation. If you go into the state of meditation, you go into the state of ekagrata, high level concentration. So if this kind of a state is practiced, you will naturally develop the art of attention because you have understood its science, what is behind it. So you see, the entire knowledge is available to us. The way to generate a concentrated mind is through the power of attention, and attention is your own property. More than the modifications of your mind, the pratyay, the incoming thought, more than all of that, actually thought is generated by the incoming data. That is why I'm calling it incoming thought. So all of this may be still external to you, but attention is something which rises from you. If you are able to have this background of mind, a very stable mind, then you can muster the highest power of attention. You see, this is what attention means. Attention is a steady beam of your awareness generated by your will. It is your own awareness directed by your own will. So it's your own property. You muster your attention towards a particular object. Look at that scattered beam there, the second image. If the attention is like that, you cannot achieve much. Isn't it pretty obvious? But if it's in a single beam, if it's falling, it's like energy being concentrated on something. So you can soak in the information, soak in the knowledge perfectly. If the attention is like that beam, take the example of a laser, an objective example. A laser you can do even very minute surgery with a laser beam because it is a concentrated photonic light. Isn't it? Anything concentrated, you can do enormous work with it. Anything scattered, you can do very little work with it. So, if your attention is like this beam, it is a steady beam of your own awareness directed by your own will, then you will be able to achieve whatever you want to achieve. What you pay attention to, that you become conscious of. Isn't this true? What you pay attention to, you have become conscious of that. It is your attention that maintains the stability of your vrittis and decides your pratyay. Please see this. That's why we say it's a property of the self itself. Your own property, your own power. You see, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. This is a law of conservation of energy, isn't it? But you can transform that energy from one form to another. So your scattered powers of attention can be made into one beam. And whatever you focus that upon, you render that conscious, as it were. It's all in your hands. And so you decide your vrittis, your pratyas, the entire stability of your mind, your ability to soak in information, everything you decide. It's in your hands. Hence, it is through the power of your attention that you focus and concentrate your mind. Once you understand this, you will understand the undercurrents of attention. So the undercurrents of attention become awareness and will. Please see this. Your own awareness and your will decide the level of your attention. Now, if your awareness is completely scattered, which means your thought process, it's entirely invested in your thought process. Usually we don't understand anything by pure awareness. We usually know awareness as invested in the thought process, as thoughts, emotions, attitudes, all these things arising in our mind. If I use the word pure awareness, you may not have thought about it too much. But according to Vedanta, awareness is the primary, pure awareness is the real you. Everything else, even mind activity, is external to you. So you can perfectly watch what is going on in your mind. It is an objective process. The mind itself is object. You, the awareness, are the subject. I'm giving you an important Vedantic idea here. Any point of time, you, the awareness, are seeing your thoughts, feeling your emotions, looking at your attitudes, interacting with the world of objects outside. You, the awareness, are doing this. That is why awareness is not even your property, it is you. essentially. Pure awareness is what is called the Atman, the self within. And this awareness is getting invested in the thought process, so your thoughts are becoming conscious thoughts. It is getting constantly invested in the thought process. Now, the thing is, if you can isolate this awareness even a bit, you will have enormous power within you to direct your will towards your goals. Let me give you a simple example here. It's a very beautiful example which actually happened in the life of Rabindranath Tagore. You have heard his name? His contributions, you know about it. See, he was very fond of nature. And he used to spend long hours in the midst of nature. Once he was going on a boat, traveling on the Yamuna river and enjoying the scenery, everything around. Then it was twilight and the sun was setting. So he lit a candle. And in that beautiful atmosphere, he tried to write some poetry. But it so happened that he was such a great poet, but that day the poetry just did not flow. He tried for some time, then it did not happen. It was dark by then. So he put off the candle and he just lay down in the boat. And then he suddenly saw the moonlight had flooded the boat entirely. And all the surroundings, and like a magical effect all around. He was very sensitive to all this. And so, as soon as he saw this, the beauty of the entire scene and the moonlight flooding the entire atmosphere, poetry just started flowing from his mind. And somehow he scribbled, there was no light, he had put off the candlelight, he scribbled it into a notebook. And the most wonderful poems came out at that time. The point is this, the candlelight represents your mind. The moonlight represents awareness, pure awareness which you are. If you remove the mind temporarily, you put off the candlelight and touch that awareness, see the moonlight, enormous creativity will be released, power will be released from within you. Every greatly creative person knows this. The mind, conscious mind has to be removed a little. Every scientist also knows this. Some of the greatest truths of science have come out from the subconscious, somewhere from the deep within you, not even from the conscious thinking, cogitating mind. So, this is a technique, a yogic technique, which you can adopt. If you intensify this pure awareness, not that you are intensifying awareness as such, because awareness is always there. Mind is flickering. But since we are looking at it from the standpoint of the mind, if you train your mind to touch this pure awareness, enormous power is released from within you. And you can direct your will. These two decide your attention. You direct your will to whatever you want to achieve. That is why it is possible to enhance awareness by opening up the mind, training the mind to open up, and by keeping your will unidirectional. If the will is constantly changing directions, you cannot have the power of attention at all, obviously. So this is how you culture awareness and will in order to master your attention. These are the undercurrents of attention. Understand, this is in-depth yoga psychology. If you can understand the basic fact about your mind, you know how yoga sees mind? It is thoughts flitting upon awareness. If you remove that thought world, if awareness comes to the forefront, Vedanta will say awareness only is the truth about you. Obviously, at any given point of time, you are aware, most of all, and then identified maybe, if you choose to be. But awareness is your fundamental nature. So if this is brought to the forefront, and if the will is kept unidirectional, the will born of your awareness, you have mastered the art of attention. Anything this will focuses upon will be yours. Because there is the intensity of awareness behind it. You have generated one beam, as it were. Samadhi state is something like this, where you get the knowledge of the object completely. So this is a possibility with you. If you can master this, you see, just now you're hearing of it. When you go home, if you think about it, you will probably be getting these videos because they are recording everything. If you are able to think and dwell upon this, you will understand what magical effect this has on your life. This is the actual truth about you. You can muster any level of concentration and you can get anything you want out of life if you understand these basic concepts. So take charge of yourself. This is the message in the Bhagavad Gita. Uddharet atmana atmanam. Na atmanam avasadayet. Atmaiva hyatmano bandhu. Atmaiva ripuratmanaha. You are your own best friend or your own worst enemy. If your own intelligence is working against you, you are your enemy. If you do not train your mechanism like this, you will become your own enemy. And if you train it, you become your own friend. There are no friends and enemies outside. Your mind is your number one friend or your number one enemy. Isn't this true? So, understanding this, I am happy to see such bright young minds here. Understand the importance of training this equipment a little. This is all I want from you. You can master the highest levels of attention if you just do this much. And if you leave it into the hands of somebody should direct my thought process. I am too lazy to do it. Somebody should decide what emotions I should have. So then you are a slave to the outer world, isn't it? Is there any meaning in living like this? He is a man who is in charge of himself. And you can decide your life's experiences, the quality of your life, if you have a little bit of this substance in you. So your own psychology, this is, yoga psychology belongs to your heritage. Vedanta belongs to your heritage. It is telling you fundamental facts about yourself. And if you go into these depths and uncover these truths for yourself, abhi aapne suna hai, you must make this your own by thinking about it repeatedly. Once you master this situation, success is in your hands. Anything you apply yourself to, you will be successful there. It's no issue to become successful. If you have not mastered this, many things you require to make you successful, which are all variables. So understand what you need to do in life. There is no point in learning concentration, of course, if you cannot focus it on worthy goals. This is also there. If you teach high levels of concentration to an idiot or to a person who has no good sanskars, well, it can cause a lot of destruction. If Hitler is taught of how to develop great concentration, he will do more devastation. So the point is, you must have worthy goals. Achhe sanskar hone chahiye. That's why I told you the base, the mind should be good. For that, develop the right habits, your little everyday life. There, if you regulate your habits, you take in the right good food through your senses, you develop good thoughts, higher interests, concentration techniques, you develop good sanskars that way. Sanskars neurophysiologically translate into engrams in your brain. You know what I'm calling sanskar in the mind? It is neurophysiologically called an engram in your brain. So when you have the positive engrams, you know your neural pathways. You know how you will function in any given situation. You know your decisions will be firm. You develop confidence. You develop clarity. You build your life. This is the way to practically build life right at this age. Today you are medical students. Tomorrow you will be in such responsible positions. If you are not in charge of yourself, don't think anybody is going to sort of excuse you from life. You will be blamed for everything. You will be pointed to. You will be looked up to or looked down upon. So you must be in charge of yourself, always. Your center of gravity should be within you, isn't it? Not in somebody outside of you, something outside of you. So if you know these basic facts about attention, about mind management, you can handle yourself perfectly in this world, no matter how changing the situations outside, how precarious the tree upon which you have to stand and shoot your arrow, you will do it successfully. Knowing this, okay, this is just a picture about the 5 states of mind I told you about. Please see this, the last 2 states, Ekagra and Niruddha, is what yoga psychology focuses upon, how to generate them. It's all in your psychology, yogic psychology. And if you learn that, you will see that these 2 states are self-directed and self-sustained. They are done by your own will. They are not dependent on objects outside. You attain to, you see, this is the difference between what we understand by flow today and what yoga psychology in addition has to contribute. Your states of flow should be self-generated and self-sustained. Isn't it? It should not depend on the object. Usually flow is understood to be a function between skill and challenge. Have you noticed this? If there's a very challenging situation, suppose you're faced with a big mathematical problem and you have the skill to solve that problem. If skill meets challenge, flow is generated in your mind. A state of complete absorption there is generated. But your state of absorption should not just depend on the challenge. This is what yoga is telling you. At any given point of time, whether the challenge is there or not, you must be in an alert state. You must be in a state of optimal activity in the mind. A state of deep inner alertness and calmness. And then you will be successful anywhere. These are some of the secrets of success which yoga psychology gives you. Now, let us go to this last point, basic techniques to control thought. See, basically, practically, what do you do? Just go through this. The right exposures, right ahar, what is called, will generate the right states of mind, isn't it? It all starts with the senses. Rhythmic breathing and posture can be tried to calm the mind. Whenever you feel very restless, you can try rhythmic breathing and posture. The picture I have given there is the picture of one thought. We are going to analyze a thought. What does it contain? What are the ingredients of a thought? You see, an idea will be there. Usually an emotion also will be there. And your vital energy is enmeshed in all of this. That is why it appears like a conscious thought to you. How will you control this thought? By controlling any one of these. The idea, the emotion, or the vital energy there. So, these are all the steps towards that. Right exposures, rhythmic breathing and posture, right conduct, how you conduct yourself, even physically. That to a great extent decides the states of your mind. Then, pratipaksha bhavanam, which means what is called cognitive reframing. Whenever you are in a state of negativity, you deliberately bring in positive thinking. It's called pratipaksha bhavana in Yoga Sutras, which means suppose you are in a state of anger. You deliberately bring in a good emotion. Try to be understanding of the situation. Suppose you are in a state of bitterness. You deliberately bring a smile on your face, learn to say sorry, thank you, something like this, so that you come back to the positive state of mind. Deliberately, consciously, willfully, it has to be done. This is the way to maintain the background balance of the mind. If you explode, the other person in front of you also will explode. Then nothing is possible. Isn't it? So these are all practical steps. You see, the next step is regulated lifestyle and habits. A little bit of this is required. Getting up any time, not having breakfast, having brunch straight, then sleeping maybe at 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock. Little bit of regulation of lifestyle. I know some of you are laughing because, well, it just happens in student life. But, I work with IITians, and after hearing all this repeatedly, they also say, yes, regulated life is very important for concentration. A little bit, as much as you can, regulate your life, your eating habits. A little bit of sattvic living is required for you to muster the greatest powers of attention. If the wrong type of food is in your stomach, if you suffer a stomach upset, your mind will dwell only on the stomach. Isn't it? ये आपका ही अनुभव है ना? इसीलिए a little bit of regulation of lifestyle. You know it. So, make service a habit, a little meditation, prayer, deep thinking, studies. All these are going to affect your mind. They are going to get you towards where you want to go. Then, here let me tell you, mind affects mind. That is why good company. You already have a number of faculty members here who are deeply into all this. I saw that. And so that generates, you can connect with them. You can connect with good literature. So it's a way of elevating yourself consciously. If that happens, if you are able to do that, you will see all this becomes easy. इतना difficult नहीं है जितना आप सोच रहे हो. All this will bring background stability to your mind, and through that you can muster the highest powers of attention. If this becomes a possibility in your life, success is very close at hand. So this is the art and science of attention which I wanted to share with you. Okay, so another 5-10 minutes we can discuss something on this, and we will have the question answer session also, because participation is very important. See, some very profound ideas of yoga and Vedanta we have discussed. Let me just sum it up for you. First thing for attention is pay attention. Now sit straight, all of you, so that we just summarize the whole thing. First thing is basic stability of mind, right? So that you are able to muster your powers of attention. Basic stability of mind, which means no over-restless state. Basic calmness within you. Second is, you willfully direct your attention towards a particular thing. You are the awareness which is mustering that attention. See this clearly. Vedanta basically introduces you to yourself, to the real you. You are functioning through this body-mind complex, but please see this, you are basically awareness. When there is no thought in your mind, you are still aware. At any given point of time, you are awareness functioning through the body-mind complex. This is basic Vedanta. So if you see yourself like this, you can readily handle this body-mind complex. If you think you are only the body, or you are only your thoughts, then what will happen? I cannot control my thoughts. I will not be in charge of this mechanism at all. Because I am the awareness which is able to watch my thoughts. See, you are able to watch your thoughts, isn't it? Huh? Are you able to watch your thoughts or not? Have you tried it? Yes, you are. Which means they are objective to you. They are objects, you the subject are watching them. See, if I raise my hand now, I can be aware I have raised my hand, but my hand is not aware that I have raised it. Isn't it? You are aware of your body. Your body is not aware of you. Which means awareness belongs to me, the subject. So simple Vedanta is. You, the awareness, are functioning through this mechanism of body-mind. You are not merely body and mind. So don't insult yourself by just identifying with this. You are the controller of this body and mind, and you will use it for your purposes. This is the strength that Vedanta gives you. You are essentially awareness at any given point of time. Assert that. All power is within you. That is why Vivekananda said, all knowledge is within you. All concentration is within you. Everything that you require is within you. You have to bring it out through proper understanding. That is all. So if you understand this, even the mind is objective to your experience. So you can handle it. So you can control it. And how will you handle your powers of attention? By higher awareness and will. Unidirectional will, and this background of awareness has come to the forefront. I am more aware than merely identified with my thought process. You getting the point? More aware than merely identified with my fears and my anxieties and my thinking. More aware than identified and will in moving in one direction, and you have intense powers of concentration and attention. So this is a possibility. You can do this simply by regulating your lifestyle, basically understanding how this mechanism works, how your thoughts are working. Just do this and you will see you are in charge of your life. What greater happiness can be there than saying, I am in charge of my life. The world will not direct how I will go. I will direct it myself. This is a possibility. So I will stop the presentation here, although I have many more slides, but let's go into your question and answer session. Because it's important to participate, as I told you. Come on, come up with your questions. Will. Very good. See, she has asked about will. Do you know how the will is defined in yoga psychology? Will is considered to be a compound between the self, the Atman, the awareness that you are, and your intellect. It's a compound between the two. So that if your intellect is unidirectional, the will remain unidirectional. If you know where you want to go, your will move in a particular direction, your willpower. It all depends on goal orientation, as you can see. If you do not know where you want to go, if somebody else is deciding where you should be going, you cannot muster this power at all. So goal orientation is the heart of willpower development. I know where I want to go, And everything that is required for that journey is right within me. I am the awareness which is using the instrumentation of my mind to function in this body and achieve what I want to achieve in this world. I am the awareness which is doing it. So my will, if I have fixed my goal, if I know where I want to go in life, my will move towards that. But if that is hazy, if the world is deciding that or somebody else is deciding that for you, for many people, somebody thinks for them. So long, for so many centuries, somebody thought for us. Even your religion thought for you. Now, with the coming of Vivekananda, Vivekananda puts the ball into your court. You will think for yourself. And you will gain this knowledge by yourself, for yourself. If you are able to do it, your will move only in the direction you want to move. It will help you achieve what you want to achieve. It will not keep changing directions if you take your life into your hands. So this you are perfectly capable of. You know how Vivekananda's willpower used to work? Or take any great man. His will moves in one direction. The failures, the flops, their will is always scattered, moving in all directions. So it never goes anywhere. If a drunkard sits in a boat and rows the whole night, will he go anywhere? He is anchored. He will not go anywhere. Any direction he may row. So also, if your will is not unidirectional, if it is not free, if you have not exercised it, it will not take you anywhere. If it is constantly changing direction, this happens with very many people. That is a cause for failure. If you really have built your life, your will move only in one direction, towards your goals. And success is inevitable. When you want to be successful in life, you should forget about success and concentrate on the work at hand. If you want to paint a masterpiece, you must forget about your happiness, the money you will get out of that painting, how pleased your bosses will be. You must forget all of that and concentrate on the painting. And all this will come as a result. Vivekananda used to say this, take up one idea, make it your very lifeblood. Dwell on that one idea day and night. And let it capture you completely and success will come.
So what are some of the things that we can do in our day-to-day life so that our mind does not get affected by the public opinion basically?
Actually, you are too young to be affected by public opinion, but still, if it is happening to you, basically, if in your everyday life, you have learned to take your life into your hands, your thought process originates from you, not from the newspaper, not from the media, not from your friends, not due to peer pressure. It originates from you. You are an original thinker. You have clarified concepts right within yourself. Then all these things are not going to direct your thinking. Isn't it? Agar mujh mein kuch na ho, I have never thought about the deeper aspects of life. Then yes, every other person coming in front of you will direct your thinking. And of course, the media is there to tell you always, do this and you will become like this, do that and you will become like. But who are you originally is what you should think for yourself. What is this mechanism? Who can give you this knowledge but yourself? How you are functioning, how your mind is functioning. Who are you even when the mind is not functioning? What is the real I? ये knowledge आपको कौन दे सकता है आप बोलिए? It's a personal research within yourself. It's called subjective research. This is a huge science. Yoga and Vedanta, it's an actual science of the subject, which I have spoken about in various parts of the world. And everywhere it is accepted because everybody knows the subject is interacting with the objective world. If I know everything about the object and nothing about the subject, what's the point? इसीलिए daily life में थोड़ा 5 minutes of yoga, if you can practice, stilling mind, regulating your thought world, a regulated lifestyle, that is enough to take you into this knowledge. इतना simple है. ये कर सकोगे आप? Promise? Thank you very much.
Most of the time we are not plan any means situation, but
Yes.
situation comes accordingly.
Yes.
So now how we can give the energy to the mind to handle that situation?
Very good. You see, when you are in stress, You know, you suffer from problems before they occur when you are in stress. You are suffering a situation which has not yet occurred because you are in a state of stress. So it has taken away your energy. Now he is asking, really, how do we give back that energy to the mind? Because my mind is completely out of control, in the grip of anger, in the grip of stress. I am already suffering a situation which has not yet happened. I am already suffering from worry. I am already suffering from anxiety. Stress is basically anxiety. So what do we do in this situation? See, this yoga which I spoke of just now, अगर ये थोड़ा सा हमारे जीवन में आए, I will look at the situation objectively. I am not participator. I am not participating in the process of anger or in the anxiety. I am looking at it objectively. Then what happens? My energy will not flow away because I am not involved. I am not the participator. This detachment from the processes of your mind comes through yoga. ये capacity आप में है, it is already there. You have not practiced it, that's all. So then stress will not overpower you. When anxiety is arising, you are seeing anxiety objectively. Then it will appear to you, it is not so important, yaar. Why should it overpower my mind? It has not even happened yet. So stress will not build up. Most of our problems are due to negative emotions, isn't it? Occurring in the mind. And do you know the cause for negative emotions? Not the external person. It is toxic thoughts in our mind which we have not controlled in the past. Toxic thoughts, you know, our culture sums up very beautifully what toxic thoughts mean. It means kama, krodha, mada, lobha, moha, matsarya. This is the 6th group of thoughts which can lead you to very negative emotional states of mind. Kam, krodh, lust, anger, mada, lobha, moha, matsarya, greed, pride, jealousy. These are the groups of thoughts. Our culture, you know, master culture, it sums up everything. These 6 groups of thoughts will take you into such negative modes of mind, you won't be able to come out of it. And then stress builds up. And then you go to and take antidepressants. You want some external tablet to control your emotions. Please see. It will never, this is not a symptomatic cure. This is not even a symptomatic cure, your antidepressants. It will not even remove the symptoms. Not to speak of causes. It doesn't come to the causes at all. The cause lies in your inability to control your thought patterns and your emotional states. So you must start with a little bit of yoga every day. 5 minutes of mind stilling. Good exposures, good reading. 5 minute Vivekananda literature पढ़ो या Bhagavad Gita पढ़ो आप. Mind will achieve such clarity. And good, little bit of good company around you. Very negative people. If you're constantly in their presence, you know, they bombard you with their thoughts. इसीलिए तो ये सब, when I came here today, your faculty so beautifully encouraged all this. Why? They know the value of it. If you have positivity around you through all these means, you know, positivity will reign in your mind. So this is irreplaceable to the development of students. And this is your own science. I'm giving you back what is your own heritage. So just get sensitive to it. That is all. We will not suffer from stress and all. We are not made to suffer like this unnecessarily. The human mechanism is meant for the highest reaches of the human consciousness. Vivekananda yahi kehte the. Let's aim for it. Yes.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I've been practicing meditation from last 2 years,
Yes.
and I've been constantly doing yoga for 5 years now.
Yes.
But still, while doing meditation and everything, there is still room in my mind for instability, and a lot of times I have these anxiety attacks and all, because as you're living in this 21st century, there are things which happen, and you tend to get attacked by all these things. But
Correct.
do you think that there are some ways which I can adapt in my meditation so that could help me more to stabilize my
Yes.
mind and all?
Yes, you see, that's a beautiful practical question. You do not get a new mind when you sit for meditation, right? The same old mind is continuing. Now, in your non-meditative states, how you have maintained the mind matters, that is why. Which means abnormal living may. If you are constantly in distracted moods, today the mobile phone, I'm not against mobile, I also use. What I'm telling you is, if you are constantly wanting to see what message came, what WhatsApp, who said what on WhatsApp, unnecessary exchange of information. If you have something of value, you can exchange. But unnecessarily flitting your attention through all these ways, this builds up, it has a cumulative effect. After a certain period of time, you will see your mind is simply only hovering around all that. So you must limit these distracting factors. Use it. It should be in your hands. You should not be in its hands. The panic attacks or anxiety attacks which you get even though you are practicing meditation is because the normal life regulation has not occurred. Try to control these factors a bit. Use an instrument like a mobile phone to your purpose, to your advancement, isn't it? Not that you become a slave of it. So if you learn to use these gadgets like this, you can see to a great extent you will hold your attention. It is not invested in all these gadgets. And you will see they cease to affect you negatively. Whatever is bombarded on your system, you must be able to stand that. This stability comes through the practice of yoga. And deliberately, I will not go and involve myself in unnecessary things. If constantly a message does not come, or your like does not come on your Facebook image, then, depression. What is this? Why should that gadget control your emotion? Good God. God only has to save us from all this. Because, when we were in college, all these were not major problems. There was nothing called internet addiction. At the most, students used to suffer from drug addiction and substance abuse. But now, so many hundreds of types of addictions and all levels of exposure. So this a little bit consciously, intelligently, you must control it yourself. Because you want to go far in life, isn't it? Yes.
If you want to, if you're trying to concentrate, your mind is getting sleepy, and sometimes you use external aids like music.
Yes. Yeah, you see, you can use external aids like music if it ushers you into the state of meditation, but there is no substitute to the real meditative state. If you are not able to generate that by yourself, it's a huge loss. You can use, like we sometimes use a small puja or some good reading to go into the state of meditation. That is okay. But the meditative state from time to time has to be attained. That is the goal, isn't it? A deep stillness of mind or contemplation on a holy object. Some such thing, if you can maintain, you will see your entire mind is changing, becoming very stable. Good emotions, good thoughts are coming in there. So it's such a huge gain actually. Intelligently, please do it. And if the mind is falling asleep in meditation, you must drink a cup of coffee and then sit. That is okay. But don't allow it to go into that kind of a state. Actually, yoga means culturing and augmenting awareness. Allowing it to come to the forefront. It is already there. You see, nobody actually cultures awareness because awareness is always there in full bloom. Your mind is not allowing its manifestation because it is cluttered. The awareness is invested in the thought process to a great extent. The mind is closed in a sense. So you are opening your mind to reality. This can only become possible if there is conscious effort, what we are calling yoga. जिसको हम योग कहते हैं, है ना? Yes.
Good afternoon, Mataji. Actually, I've read about Brahma Muhurat in the morning, 3:30 to 6. So it's often said that whatever we do in this period, like it gets inside, absorbed really quick.
Correct.
So the vritti and the pratyaya at this period, are they different from the rest of the day?
Very good question. She's right. You see, there are certain points of day when the mind naturally calms down. When the mind is naturally very stable. So you can utilize these moments. The Brahma Muhurta is one of them. It is the time when the mind is naturally very calm, quiet, your surroundings, your environment is calm. In fact, if you watch a river, these are the times dawn and dusk and the period before dawn. These are times when even the river becomes very calm. There are not too many waves. The trees become very calm. Birds calm down. And people's minds also calm down. So you can capitalize on this. These natural moments of calmness. And if you capture these moments, you can go into meditation at these times. The vritti and pratyay is naturally different at those times. Even midnight is a time to do that. So you can, that's why I said if you regulate your lifestyle a bit, you can capture these moments.
Apart from that, like when we say Om, it's often said that saying Om is really good. So Om pronunciation also, O and everything has a different meaning. So if for increasing the concentration, which word should we specify on more? Like what I have heard is like when you take a deep breath and then O, like that it goes on. So like when we extend Merl, what is the benefit of that?
Very good. See, her question is something very specific. It's a technique, the chanting of Om. If you chant a long drawn out Om, जैसे हम Om करते हैं, if you have this long drawn out Om, it has a terrific effect on your mind. If you practice it even 10 times, this long chanting, क्योंकि आपको पता है Om क्या चीज़ है? It is the word symbol of pure awareness, Brahman, जो हम कहते हैं. When you repeat it, your mind tends to go into what Om is signifying. Om is your real name, that is why. The real you, pure awareness, its word symbol is Om. By chanting Om like this continuously with a concentrated mind, it will take you to the state of pure awareness, if the mind is sensitive enough. तो प्रैक्टिस करके देखो आप कितना calmness आता है सिस्टम में. See, all these are, everything that I told you is very practical. It's a do-it-yourself technique. If you practice it, you will get the idea. Yeah.
I just want to clarify this, ma'am. Is it like I'm escaping from that negative emotion, that's why I'm switching into a positive thought? Or am I supposed to do it that way? That's my doubt. Like, if, in a way, if I feel like if I'm reacting in a negative way, I should sit down, I should analyze how I should have done it and what created that negative emotion inside me.
Correct.
So which way should I go? Like,
no, see, any negative emotion, its expression in the form of an explosive situation is not called for. Even if it's a situation where it is required to show a little anger, there's a way of showing your concerns. But if you explode in a particular situation, that will only make it a highly explosive situation. You understand? And nobody is able to get your feeling or your idea by expressing it like that. But in a calm state of mind, if you can say, no, this is not right, instead of saying, this is not right, people will listen to you.
But 90% of us are very impulsive in our reactions, so immediately we respond in a very extremely loud way, and then we sit back and realize, and ma'am, it happens most of the time to all of us.
See, tomorrow when you get into corporates or you work in a hospital, anywhere, this is one of the first trainings which will be required of you, that you learn to talk in an impassionate manner. You learn to put forth whatever you want to say in a way which is convenient for everybody to accept. Otherwise, teamwork is not possible. Isn't it? A basic thing about a corporate is it's teamwork. You're working together. And one of the things that they will be watching for is your responses and reactions. You can respond, you can't react. So there is a way of responding. And for that, your emotions should be, as I told you, in your hands. For that, you should be mindful of your emotion, mindful of your situation. The more you practice this a bit, you will see you can perfectly handle your mental situations. So your behavioral patterns will be very correct, very good. So you are a natural leader everywhere. Because this instrument has been trained. That is the point. Yes? You got something from this? Yes.
Yeah, ma'am. Nowadays there is a word which has come up very often, hyperactive.
Yeah.
जो when I was a child, I never heard that any of my cousins or we don't hyperactive word मैंने कभी सुना नहीं था. But nowadays when we go to schools and PTMs and the teacher normally says, yeah, my class is full of hyperactive kids and it is difficult for me to control their energy. So why has that thing come up now? मतलब हम जब school में थे तो मैंने कभी सुना नहीं मेरे class में कोई child, there is a child who is so notorious and so why is it now that whole class is full of hyperactive kids? That is what is there nowadays.
You know, the actual cause for hyperactivity, have you heard of ADHD? Attention Deficit Disorder. It makes children hyperactive. Attention deficit will make them so restless because there's no attention spans at all, no long attention spans. So they are only physically active. It makes them hyperactive. And the cause for ADHD, this attention deficit, is, you won't believe it, what the cause is. I'm going to the very source. I'm not going to give you superficial causes. The source of attention deficit is overexposure. All the time, you see, the whole world is on your children's mobile screen. And for everything, they are going to that. They know everything that is on YouTube. This overexposure constantly through the senses, over bombardment on the mind, it makes the mind so unstable and restless that their attention is constantly flitting. That is the cause for attention deficit, and that makes them physically very active, overactive.
So yoga and meditation
will control the whole thing. Yoga and meditation is the only way to control these situations. Tell me, what other way is there? Can you give them antidepressants all the time, every day, to control their hyperactivity? You can't. Teach them to quiet down a little. You know, we have a school in Delhi where we used to tell the children, we train them like this. Even KG1 children, 2 minutes in the assembly, they have to close their eyes and watch their mind. They have to do it. Whatever is happening in the mind, you will just watch it. Close your eyes and watch your mind. So initially they would tell me, you know how they would close their eyes like this? As if, what am I going to see now? Like that. Because not at all used to closing your senses. So thoda ye aap practice karo, karwao apne bachon ko. Let them learn to see the inner world, the world of the mind, what is there. And then when you open your eyes, you will see a very beautiful world outside. But inside, if there is such a level of instability that you just can't close your eyes, then God has to save situations, that's all.
Ma'am, what are we as beings, not just us human beings and the other animals and stuff, but what are we without our conscience?
Yes, very good question. You see, without your, he's asking conscience, not consciousness, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Your conscience is that part of your mind which gives you a clear-cut sense of right and wrong. That is why when you do something wrong, it pricks you. When you do something right, your mind is happy. It is due to your conscience. Without your conscience, you are not a human being at all. Conscience is a property of your mind. You know, a serial killer has lost his conscience. The mind has become so tamasic, so negative, so full of clutter, unnecessary clutter, that he has lost his sense of conscience, so he has ceased to be a human being. So he is killing and getting some kind of a joy out of it. So if you want to preserve your conscience so as to elevate human life, you must take care of your mind. Hai na?
Yes, ma'am.
Now we discuss the factors affecting your mind. Without a strong conscience, a human being ceases to be a human being. That's why take care of your mind, and your conscience will always remain like a lighthouse. It will throw light on every situation and save you.
Also, ma'am, how does conscience help us during meditation? And
no, here you are confusing between consciousness and conscience.
Okay, conscience.
See, conscience is a property of your mind which gives you the sense of right and wrong. Yes?
Yes.
Whatever brings benefit to others is the right thing to do. This your conscience tells you. Consciousness is not a property of your mind. It is the very substance of your mind, the very substratum of your mind. What Vedanta is calling consciousness is the real you, the unchanging you. Mind is constantly changing. Mind is thoughts floating upon consciousness. Because you have consciousness, your thoughts become conscious. You are capable of conscious thinking. थोड़ा इसके बारे में विचार करना है. Vedanta vichar means understanding the core reality about you, which is not even mind. Mind is external to your awareness, I told you. Consciousness is the real you. Mind is external to it. That is why you can watch it. So, if you allow this consciousness to sort of come to the forefront by controlling your mind activity, you become more and more conscious, more and more aware. Once you become more and more aware, you can handle your mind like any other instrument. Just like you see, I can handle this. It's in my hands. So also your mind can be in your hands. This is the way to develop, evolve from humanity to divinity.
Yes.
Okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, just a difference I just want to know between the two, actually, me and my daughter. Yeah. When I used to study, I wanted to have a complete peace in my house.
Yes.
Right? I wanted to close myself in a room and I used to study because I did not want any disturbance.
Yes.
Whereas my daughter, when she studies, she wants the TV to be on. She wants the music to be on. She says, I'll get the concentration even if the TV is on. And she sits and makes her maths. So I just want to know what is the problem in my way of studying and what is the problem in her way of studying. There is a lot of difference between the things.
Yeah. Your way of studying is no problem.
Yeah.
Because you wanted to study in peace.
Yeah.
But this is the modern student's mind. Huh? It is comfortable with a lot of distraction. See, at this age, at your age, when you're teenagers and young people, you may enjoy that distraction. After some time, it will be cumbersome. It will be a burden on you. You can't handle so much of data bombardment on your senses. Your mind cannot handle it. It can't process it. So at some point, you will be saying, "Band karo yaar, I don't want this." Very concentrated students will say it even now. You look at the topper of your class. He's a very concentrated guy. Have you watched this? He's somehow always focused. So just watch the topper in your class and he will teach you what you need to learn. You must get used to inner calmness, inner balance by eliminating distraction in your moments of concentration. Temporarily, for a few minutes, it's okay. Maybe she wants to listen to some music. But studying along with music, television, internet, everything going on, and then I'm comfortable with this is a wrong state of mind. A state of mind which will not take you very far in your attempts at concentration. This should be changed. So gradually she will only come to know. Every intelligent mind corrects itself. Right? Yes. So she will come to know of it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, how does yoga refreshes our mind?
Okay, how does yoga refresh the mind? You know, the most refreshing thing for your mind is not another ice cream or not very good music. It is stillness. When you still your mind completely, you just become aware. Awareness persists, thought has subsided. This is the most refreshing feeling. Try to do it and see, and आपको ही पता चलेगा. यह अनुभव की बात है. You have to taste it. If you remove thought from your mind and yet remain fully aware and conscious, it sort of replenishes your energies. It renews your mind. It refreshes you enormously. You taste something of this state every day. You know when? When thought activity is not there. In the state of deep sleep. Doesn't it refresh you? So if you do it consciously, where awareness is there but thought is not there, it will refresh you enormously. This is a possibility with the human mind. So try to get used to some of these states and you will yourself see what is in them.
I am a mother of two actually. I have my daughter. Gone are the days when I was very happy when I have couple of toys and my family members to play with me. Now when I have my kids and I do get occupied with them in some of the other activities with them, I get so much of toys for them and whatever I do, that doesn't make them complete. Rather than they are just, very instantly my daughter says like, "Mama, I am bored." I want to do something else. Even their friends play for 2 hours or so, and after that she'll come to me and ask, what should I do now? I'm bored. So this kind of a phrase, I'm just like, it makes me more occupied, and to make her occupied, in fact.
Yeah.
So what can we do when, I exclude them from television times, from phone times and all, but how to make them occupied in a very good way?
How to keep children occupied in a good way? See, it all depends on the habits you have put them into. Habit forming is an important science in itself, which we have discussed enormously in IIT. You know, what habits are like the foundational stones for your thinking. What habits you make them form will decide how they are going to perform. Now, if a child has the whole world on her mobile screen and still is bored, something seriously wrong with the mind, isn't it? A child's mind should be vibrant with energy, should be vibrant with enthusiasm. If it is getting bored, that means that mind has not learned to turn inward at all. Make some level of yoga, either meditation or good study, a habit with your child, so that every day she does it. She will do it if you do it. You know, children are like that. If you are doing something of this at home, like a ritual almost, you know, I'm not saying you perform a ritual. What I'm saying is you do it in such a way that your children get interested in it. And it will happen that she will imbibe it from you. Try to create that ambience at home, an ambience of some elevated reading every day. 5 minutes of yoga. Just even bowing down to a picture of, say, Vivekananda or somebody, some saint. If she does this, she will know that anything opposite to this bhav is not worth respecting. So this is the way to control their emotions, their thoughts. You understand? By introducing these small things at home. Some calming activity, elevated reading. Suppose you are reading Bhagavad Gita for 15 minutes every day. She sees you and she comes and says, Mummy, what are you doing? And she will connect with the ideas. Something like this. And of course, peer pressure is a huge thing, because as your children grow up, you know, their friends are become more important than the parents. And they are going to listen to what their friends say first, and second, they will listen to you. This is peer pressure. So see that she makes the right friends. That is very important. Okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
Become Swami Vivekananda's messenger. Share the video with 3 of your friends.